Hello, how are we all doing today? How you feeling in this moment is a good way to start, actually. How do I feel? I feel relaxed, grateful, happy in this moment. And I feel this one's got a little bit of an intention behind it because the last few, I've just been talking and things have been coming out. But in the middle of the night last night, I had this thought, this idea come to me, and it was change. And I got up and I wrote down some notes, like one thing actually, on my phone, and that was that the only constant in life is change, right? And it's so easy to see it in nature, and we're currently in winter here in Australia. So I'll go out my front door and I look at this tree that we have, and I love just sitting actually just looking at it. The color of the leaves, so now they're all like a yellow, brown, red sort of color. A lot of them are, and they're all falling off the tree because we're into the almost finished the first month of winter, and yeah, just interesting to see the just the changing of the seasons, you know. And what I was observing there was, or I'm pointing to, is the fact that nothing in life is forever. We do get caught up with thinking that things are just going to last forever. Like our mind will convince us that if we're staying in the same place, the same people are going to be in our lives forever. But life teaches us something different, doesn't it? Because it takes away people from time to time. I remember my uncle when he passed away, and that was 4 years ago. Passed away from cancer. That was 4 years ago, and only yesterday or the day before. Because I got a reminder on my phone. I recorded a song when he did pass away that day. I picked up my guitar, and the first thing that came out, I remember playing this beautiful little melody. And yeah, I never had a thought about, oh, he's going to go, until life just changes in front of you. We think we're all here forever, until that moment that we're not, or someone that we love, someone that's close to us, is no longer in this physical experience. So that was the intention for this moment, is bringing that awareness to change. I didn't think I was going to go into death, but that's where we go, because death teaches us about life, teaches us about the frailty, the fleeting moment that we have here in this rock that's spinning around the universe. It reminds us that this life is so precious, and we can get caught up in the doing that we often forget to be. Our minds are so tricky sometimes, and they keep us in this loop. And I just noticed it this morning. I was sitting down for 5 minutes, and I just observed, and I was in it too, of how quickly the mind can just take you to the next moment. And it's just sitting down, observing thoughts, and then all of a sudden I'm in a conversation with somebody in a future moment that I'm having in my mind that doesn't exist in this physical experience, but it's taking place. So it's no different than something happening, like me having a sip of coffee, me having a conversation with somebody in my mind, because there's an energetic experience happening. There's an emotion behind it. Imagine if you're having an argument in your head with somebody, and you can feel the emotion of that argument. You're like, you had a conversation with someone, like in this reality, and then there's always that moment when you're like, oh, I should have said this, and you're reflecting, and then you have some time away, and all of a sudden this whole conversation comes up, like, oh, I should have said this, and oh, this is what I really wanted to say. Or you're actually repeating that moment, in time in your head. And it's fucking crazy because your body doesn't know any different. So if that's like an argument and you're bringing it up again, it's resurfacing, then you're going to feel that emotion again in your body. But that moment has already passed. But here it is again happening for you. So coming back to the intention of change, the only constant is change, and life is forever changing. We're forever evolving. If you could imagine yourself 10 years ago, how much has shifted within that time? Even for me, 3 years ago, so 2020, I was in a completely different space. Like I was heavily influenced by my environment. COVID was going on, and I was deep into the depths of, this is a conspiracy, this is all bullshit, I don't fucking believe this, I'm not going to get the vax, fuck that shit. you know but it's like that's an attachment to an identity as well. And now, like, even just the people that I was around, things I was doing, my activities, a lot has shifted within the space of 3 years. But if you can imagine 10 years ago, it's like a completely different life. So we're always forever changing and evolving, just as nature is, and as nature changes with the seasons. When it's winter, the leaves all fall off the trees, and then springtime comes and the flowers blossom, and such a beautiful energy. Then we come into summer, it's really hot, and nature just doesn't bend with the season. It just flows with life. It is life. And that's essentially what we are as well. We are life, just flowing with the ever-changing seasons. We can flow with it, or we can resist it. And when we resist it, we're just wanting things a certain way. We're attaching to an outcome, and there's an expectation, and that's when the resistance forms. And when you resist life, you resist the universe, you're going to receive resistance in the form of delays of things not happening, or when you're driving, you're going to receive traffic. You're going to receive bills, unexpected bills, whatever it is, because you're resisting life. And this physical experience is just one of infinite frequencies that we're experiencing now. And the most beautiful thing is it shows up instantaneously. It's a mirror of how you're feeling inside. Right, so coming back to change, do you notice, though, that there are some things that don't change? There are some things that repeat in your life, like repeating patterns. For instance, for some people, it could be you are in a toxic relationship. You break up with somebody, and then you find the same person just with a different name. Or it could be your bank account. You could come into some abundance financially, but then it always sort of comes back down to that one place, that one position. And why is that? Why does that happen? Because, life is forever changing, but why do I keep experiencing this same experience? It's actually all a program in our heads. And it's the repeating patterns that will play out in our life until we see them, until we separate from them. So it's a programming software that's going on in our head. And to witness the patterns, to witness the thoughts that are playing out on this particular frequency, it's a process of going inside internally. And for me, that is sitting down in stillness, which is literally just closing your eyes and taking a breath. It's not a bad idea to have a breath right now. And witnessing the thoughts that are going on. So, like I was saying earlier, I sat down for 5 minutes and my mind was taken me into conversations. I was just jumping into a conversation with somebody that had already happened. And then I was seeing it, laughing. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Bringing myself back to where I already am. And then all of a sudden, seeing thoughts, and then off I go into the next conversation that hasn't actually happened. There's an airplane going over. Yeah. But isn't it beautiful to bring yourself back and to witness the mind? Some mornings, I even had a thought of like, oh, the mind is very busy today. And that can be an interesting thought too, because you can actually attach onto that thought, and then your whole day is dictated by this one thought that you entered in the morning, that the mind is very busy today. Because we start to narrate what's going on, but it's not us narrating it, it's the mind. It's the voice in your head starts to narrate. And the more you get quiet, the more you still yourself, the more you can witness that voice in your head that is not you, that is dictating your experience. It's such an interesting human experience that we have, because we're all talking monkeys on a spinning blue rock, hurling around infinity, with a voice in our head that can control us if we let it, if we're in the habit of allowing it to be that way, on the autopilot that majority of us are every day. But it doesn't have to be that way. So, yeah, with change, change is just a natural state of being, but there's some repeating patterns that keep us trapped. And how can you ever know that you're in a prison? How can you ever escape from a prison that you don't know you're in? That's the mind, right? That's the analytical tool that we can utilize in daily life. However, we're in a habit of it using us, it controlling us. And you can step back into life, back into what you are, by feeling. How we started this conversation actually is how I feel. And that's a beautiful question to ask yourself in this moment. How do you feel? And it just brings you back to this moment. Got to wrap it up because I've got a workshop in 2 minutes. But that's what I want to share with you today, is that life is forever changing. We get caught up in the doing, but we can forget to be here now. And it's through the process of slowing down and going inside and just witnessing thoughts that we can start to separate from them, and we can start to really experience the life that we are, and have that gratitude of the fact that we are alive. All right. Thank you for listening, and have a beautiful, beautiful day. Much love to you. Bye.